India is surrounded by Indian Ocean, Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. Though it is covered with large amount of water, our ancient Indian emperors were unaware of the privilege of these three seas due to sea blindness. As the time passed by, the newly emerged emperors overcame it by using the waterways as an important means to enhance their trade and commerce, like those of Cholas, who had maintained a good trading relationship with the regions of Southeast Asia and also to expand their empires. I, B.K. Bhuvisha from second year BA Defense and Strategic Studies, here to present video on why Cholas not called as father of Indian Navy. Before entering into the topic, let us watch the video clipping.
चौल वंश के समय चोल नेवी को सबसे शक्तिशाली नौसेनाओं में से एक माना जाता था। चोल साम्राज्य के विस्तार में उसे अपने समय का इकोनॉमिक सुपर पावर बनाने में उनकी नेवी का बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा था। चोल नेवी की मुहिम खोज यात्राओं के ढेरों उदाहरण का संगम साहित्य में आज भी उपलब्ध है। बहुत कम लोगों को पता होगा कि विश्व में ज्यादातर नौसेनाओं ने बहुत देर के बाद युद्धपोतों पर महिलाओं को अलाउ किया था, लेकिन चोल नेवी में, और वो भी 800-900 साल पहले, बहुत बड़ी संख्या में महिलाओं ने प्रमुख भूमिका निभाई थी और यहाँ तक कि महिलाएं लड़ाई में भी शामिल होती थी। चोल शासकों के पास शिप बिल्डिंग, जहाजों के निर्माण के बारे में बहुत ही समृद्ध ज्ञान था।
Man Ki Baat is an Indian radio program hosted by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in which he addresses the people of the nation on All India Radio, DD National and DD News. Since the first show on 3rd October 2014, there have been 67 episodes. In the episode aired on 27th November 2017, he mentions Chola Navy as one of the world's best navies, which is our topic. Rajendra Chola was the first Indian ruler to establish the first Indian naval fleet some 1,000 years back. Cholas undertook maritime expeditions to Southeast Asia not with plunder motive but with minimizing the role of Srivijaya as the intermediary between Cholas and the Sung dynasty in China. Charles Rickmere quotes, "It appears that the Cholas were the only Indian state to develop a regular navy and make it an effective instrument of military policy. In accordance with the sayings, there were about 600 to 1,000 ships and 1 million naval soldiers between the period of 900 to 1150 AD, which is mentioned by Nilakanta Shastri, the author of A History of South India." Even an Arab traveler comments that the ships in Indian Ocean differed from those in the Mediterranean in that the Indian ships were made of wooden planks held together by coir ropes and not by iron spikes. With reference to this, Cholas extended their kingdom beyond Bay of Bengal and ruled Java, Sumatra, islands in Southeast Asia, parts of Malaysia, Myanmar, Brunei Island, even some territory islands that belong to Australia, and even Tasmania and New Zealand. The naval power of Cholas grown from small back entity to that of a potent power projection and diplomatic symbol in all of Asia during the period of 900 AD to 1100 AD. Later, from 1010 AD to 1200 AD, the territory of Cholas extended from Maldives in south to the banks of Godavari in north. At the end of 9th century, the trade of Cholas, especially with Chinese and Arabs, flavored intensely. Cholas' naval administration had two branches, namely Naval Department and the Department of Commercial Tax. Now, let us look into the naval departments, which had 6 divisions, and let me list out one by one. Firstly, Kanni, which had not more than 5 ships used at the time of war, and it is controlled by a person in high rank, namely Talabati. When the rival warship approaches, the department of Kanni will be the first to attack them and make them to chase, which will be later surrounded by the other department called Mandalam. Mandalam comprises of 40 to 50 ships and it is under the control of the person with rank Mandaladipati. Next, Jalathalam or Thalam. It holds more than 5 ships well equipped with weapons, food and soldiers. It is controlled by Jaladipati. Next, the department called Kanam, which has 100 to 150 ships and is a permanent formation. One Kanam comprises of 3 mandalams. The department of Ani comprises of 3 Kanams and it is under the control of Anipati. Lastly, Pirivu, the department which is under the direct control of King. I'd like to stress here that the above said 5 department will be under the control of Pirivu. On the whole, Cholas fought their every naval battle by forming Vyugams. Now, let us move on to the other department which defended from foreign pirates, namely Thiravai, Aivu, Otru and Karaipirivu. Thiravai deals with taking into account about how many ships enter into the territorial water. Aivu inspects each ship which enter into the country. Otru inquires the captain about the purpose of their visit. Karaipirivu is the coast guard which allows the goods to be supplied once approval of above 3 departments is submitted. Lastly, there existed an intelligence department which beholds the group of pirates who will be directly under the control of King, whose duty is to report if they find the presence of any warship in the sea. That's all about the departments in Navy. Now, let us peep into the types of ships existed during the period of Cholas. Dharani is a type of ship which is compared to the modern day destroyers. At present, Indian Navy holds about 10 destroyers. The presently used 19 corvettes or the ancient lulas what Cholas used. Tirisadai is an enormous battleship which were used by Cholas to conquer other nations. This is the reason behind Cholas to be recognized to have a strong naval fleet. Taking this into account, our Indian government has honored the pre-modern Cholas by releasing stamps on 5th March 2015 and named a training ship as T.S. Rajendra, which was eventually renamed as T.S. Chanakya. Herewith, let me conclude my topic by enrolling my opinion that the reason behind why Cholas not called as father of Indian Navy will be the limited documentation about the history of Cholas, which led to the inadequate knowledge about them. India, being a democratic country, is open to people's view, unless or otherwise the views have solid proofs. If we want our real ancient heroes to be in the limelight, we must seek the true knowledge. With this, I am being grateful to my beloved parents, Mr. Vinayagam sir from Tamil department, ST sir, Hariyanna, my seniors and all others for their timely help which made me to complete this presentation to my level best. Thank you once again.